Hello, and welcome to Boomer and Beyond Wellness. I'm Angela Fischetti. So today we're going to do a full class together. This is yoga-based stretches for the quadriceps, the front of the thighs. And I'm going to let you in on a little secret. I did lower body weightlifting 3 days ago and yesterday, so I really am very excited to do this with you today, so thank you. The accessories we'll be using today will be a sticky yoga mat. I'm going to go right into medical disclaimers and precautionary measures as they arise. So the yoga mats are often made out of some amount of latex. So if you have a latex allergy, you want to look for non-latex or latex-free. Now I'm sitting up on a yoga block, and here's another one. So we have level 1, level 2, level 3. I'll make suggestions. I'm on level 1 right now. So I'm in a pose already, and this is called Virasana, hero's pose. So it is part of the intent of the posture is to help knees. So if you do have knee issues, sit up higher though, higher up. And also to understand that this pose is actually excellent for stretching out the quadricep muscles. We have the shins, tops of the feet, the dorsal side of the foot, even the front of those very tight ankles sometimes. So it's a great pose for all of that. And the yoga blocks will be really helpful throughout the course of the practice. Also, we'll be using a yoga strap. Now, why I like them so much, folks, is they're soft. They're really nice for the hands, and particularly for our demographic. Some folks have arthritic hands or Dupuytren's contracture or trigger finger, anything. So it's a nice soft strap. But the other thing that's great about a yoga strap is they are between 6 and 8 feet, and sometimes you can get them even longer, which is really great. Much better than holding the hard-bound straps in your hands. And finally, I have a couple of hand towels here, and this is for a number of reasons. First of all, for knee issues, there's going to be a posture we're going to be doing called a seated wide angle, Upavishta Konasana. So if you have to sit up on blocks, you must support your joints with props. So this is for the knees. Now, if you are medicated or not for hypertension, you have vertigo or GERD, when you're on your back, when you are supine, face up, then I suggest that you use a towel or two under your head just for a little elevation. Remember, for hypertension, medicated or not, vertigo, and GERD. Now, this leads me into more of the precautionary measures. So for any back spine issue whatsoever, including postural deviations, especially hyperkyphosis, which is the one that gives a kind of hunched appearance, right? We want to be careful here with forward flexion of the spine. You may have been told not to bend down and pick up something, or maybe you're okay doing that. I just want to call this to your attention. Also, if you have rotator cuff muscle issues, which deep to the shoulders, pinched nerve at the neck, carpal tunnel syndrome. Well, I'm here to tell you this position of the wrist and hand, no matter which way the arm is turned, okay? This is contraindicated. It's called wrist extension. I'll show you a way how you can work around that. Also, if you have ever had a T.I.A, a transient ischemic attack, or a stroke, please be very careful about big hyperextension of the neck, all right? Maybe you've been told you can do that, but I'm assuming you weren't, and that's why we want to go from there, just for safety's sake. So now I've been sitting here in this hero pose for quite some time talking to you, and I'm actually going to get up and out of it and face you directly. So I'm going to take my yoga blocks, and I'm going to bring them directly alongside the hip joint, the acetobulofemoral joint, also known as the coxal joint. And we're going to work on lateral flexion of the spine, which is side bending. So I'm going to bring the right hand to the block. I'm going to walk it out a bit. And I'm going to spiral the chest up toward the ceiling, sternum toward the ceiling. Now, the opposite hand, inhale, I begin to bring the hand up. However, I'm going to exhale hand to the waist For those of you with rotator cuff or pinched nerve, you might want to keep the hand here, or if you want to keep going and you're pain-free and all that, go for it. Otherwise, the rest of us will arc over as we turn the heart center toward the ceiling, reaching out through the left middle finger, stretching out the intercostals between the ribs, which are responsible for 25% of your respiratory cycle, and stretching out the oblique muscles of the waist, basically helping to turn and twist from the waist. And then inhale, turn that palm up. This is what I'm going to do over my head. Exhale, grab an imaginary hook and really reach out. Come back to center. Inhale, walk the other block out. Sternum towards ceiling, hips forward, torso back. Exhale, arm up and over. And breathe. So this is a little variation on an Anjaneyasana, crescent moon. Inhale, palm up, grab a hook. Exhale, reach up and out. Come back to center. Take a couple of shoulder rolls. You want to gauge your yoga practice by way of your breath, folks, which is done in and out through the nose. Nope, choking back on the breath. That means you've gone beyond your edge. So now I'm going to put myself at a little bit of a diagonal here for you. And I'm going to take my blocks alongside the outer lower legs. And I'm placing my right hand on the block alongside me on the right. This hand that you can see is going on the iliac crest, and I'm pulling the hip back. So in essence, I'm going to bring this hand to my small of the back. I am pushing one hip forward drawing the opposite one back. Hand back down to the block. Hold here. And getting that stretch. Absolutely a unilateral stretch here. But notice what happens. I am stretching the hip flexor. I am stretching the quadricep. When you do yoga postures that incorporate back bending, spine extension, you bring in the lengthening, the stretching of the quads. I'm going to bring this arm up. Inhale, grab a hook. Exhale, come upright. And other side, hand, pull back. So it's this kind of movement. One hip forward, the opposite back. Notice for this part, I'm keeping the head neutral. Arm up, grab a hook, inhale, exhale. Come all the way back up. Now you can choose to continue working unilaterally, one side at a time. I'm going to go bilateral now, and you can keep your blocks too if you wish. However, for this round now, I'm going to tuck the toes under, therefore lifting the heels. I'm going to bring my knees a little bit wider, especially if you have a tighter lower back. Hands to the sacrum. Now notice, that's that wrist extension. So for those of you with carpal tunnel, lower the hands down so the wrist doesn't bend like that. I roll the shoulders back, and I'm thinking about sliding the sacrum down toward the floor behind me. Does the sacrum slide? No. Open up across the chest. Now, for T.I.A. or stroke, you keep your head neutral. For the rest of us, if you want to, you can drop your head back. Inhale, head to neutral. Exhale, come all the way back upright. I'm going to flatten my feet. Maybe you bring your knees a little bit wider. Maybe you don't. It's up to you. Maybe you remain with the heels up or the blocks. Hands again, sacrum. So we want the belly to come forward. We want the hips to slide down. We want the thighs to come forward. Open the chest, open the front shoulders. And then we reach back for the feet. Ustrasana, camel. Inhale, belly button pulls in, strongly coming up to hold a moment. And then exhale, what you can do is come into an embryo pose or a child's pose. For the moment, I will choose embryo, knees, feet together. And if you need to protect your knees, you can put a block underneath the butt. So it's you reaching back and forward simultaneously. And now, slowly rolling up. Hold steady for the moment. Now we're going to come into cat-cow. I'm going to use the blocks. What cat-cow is basically is a spine extension and a spine flexion. Lateral view here for you. Now, contraindicated for you, right? For carpal tunnel. So we make a soft fist. That means you don't curl the nails in. You don't want to cut your skin, right? So soft fist. You work on the flat part of the hand right here. So you can use blocks or not. I'll show you how to do it on blocks. The higher the better as far as I'm concerned. Now, on the inhale, I drop the belly down, tip the tailbone up, push the ground away, good, strong, straight arms, open up the chest. Think you're sliding the shoulder blades back down toward the back waist, chin up, except for T.I.A. stroke. I need the head neutral. And then on the exhale, back spine and postural deviation, I would like you to come into just a table position while the rest of us go into spine flexion, which is cat pose. Lastly, lowering the head. Stay here. Hold it like it is an abdominal crunch in all fours. Just stay here. And then roll up with the blocks. Now, I'm going to swing my legs out in front this way, placing the blocks behind me. This can be done on the forearms. You just won't get as much of a lift, okay, for those of you with carpal tunnel. Let me move in a little bit because I can see part of that hand is cut off, and I want you to see. So the feet are flat. The chest is thrust up. The shoulders are back and down. We will be doing tabletop. And you will notice, because the elbows are bent, there's going to be a lot of work here on the biceps, but the moment we straighten, extend the elbow, tricep is involved. Watch what happens. Inhale, exhale, hips up. Head neutral, T.I.A. stroke. Head back for the rest of us. Hip extension, a nice lengthening of the quadriceps and hip flexors. And then inhale, easy as you bring your head to neutral. Draw that belly button in. Exhale, let the muscles work. Don't collapse down to the floor. There we go. Now we straighten the legs out in front. I'm doing a plantar flexion of the feet, which is a pointing down. I'm going to bring the blocks just like a hint further back. Thrust the chest up, roll shoulders. Now we come into Purvottanasana, inclined plane, backwards platform pose. Inhale, exhale. And exhale on the way down, belly button in, control it, don't flop. Easy coming down. Yes, good for you. Good for you. Flap out those hands. We're going to give them a love just in a moment. So, I'm going to turn and face you. Take my blocks, have your strap close by, have those towels close by. I'm covered in cat hair, folks, but that's the way it goes. It's his home, not mine. So I'm going to sit wide apart. Here's that Upavishta Konasana, that seated wide angle I was talking about before. However, for some of you, you're going to wind up sitting like this. You're going to collapse and the knees are going to pop up. So let's first work on the back and hip area. Sit up on 2 blocks, stacked like so. Then what'll happen is the underside of your knees, the back of the knee joint, will not be supported. That's what your towels are for. All right, you can fold them up like so and bring them underneath for support. Or for back spine issues, use your strap, your big strap, around the balls of the feet. You're going to push out and press down, pull with the strong biceps, not with the shoulders hunched and elbows locked. Bent elbows, flexion, engage the biceps here. You work on spine extension, just keeping yourselves upright, working those erector muscles of the back. So now, what we're going to do is show those wrists a little love while we're in this posture, so don't jump out of it so quickly. Of course, if you need to rest, whenever you need to, always feel free to do that. So we're going to interlock the fingers. Now, for those of you medicated or not for hypertension, you might have been told not to squeeze the fingers, therefore just don't do this, and you can work on flapping the wrists and stretching them out, etc. I want you to create a sideways number 8 with your wrist joints, sideways number 8. And if you get adept at it and you can start to go faster, you don't have to go faster. You can reverse direction if you want. You can alternate it. Just don't collapse like I did. And shake them out, flick the fingers out. So now back to the blocks. I'm going to pull myself back a bit, pushing out even more, sitting tall. So back spine issues. Most people know that this posture is a forward bend, right? So what we want to do is kind of think in terms of using the blocks as lifting the floor up to you, push down to lift, and then you could press down and out even more, right? So I'm going to begin this process of coming in slowly into the forward bend. Folks, please don't do a nosedive down to your belly button, bringing your nose down into the belly button. That means your whole spine is rounded. That's not the purpose of the pose. It's about out, length, lift. So the cervical spine of the neck and the lumbar spine of the low back are both in a natural lordotic curve that actually lends themselves to back bending, to extension. By keeping the head in that lordotic position at the neck, I'm doing the same with my low back because I'm not rounding. So when I'm thinking, there's always oppositional movement in yoga, that there is a back bend in the forward bend. So at this point, I'm going to get rid of the blocks and just set them to the side a bit. My hands are out in front, and I'm going to slowly come into the posture, first lowering my elbows. Maybe that's what you have to do to give your back a chance to adjust, to give those inner thighs, the hamstring muscles, right? They're getting a major stretch. Guess what? Your quadriceps are contracting because you're pushing down and out. So they are isometrically working those quadriceps. I'm going to keep going. I'm cupping my fingertips as a block, right, to come up higher. And I'm going to take it. And then inhale, slide forward. You could also choose to roll up. Exhale, hold for the moment. I'm going to bring those legs out in front. I'm a little shake windshield wiper, tap, tap, tap. Okay, now I'm going to turn in this direction. And I'm going to grab the blocks. I'm just going to keep them available when I'm ready to use them, all right? So facing this direction, I'm going to teach you how to roll down onto your backs 3 different ways. I'm just checking my circumstance to make sure I'm in the clear. So I hold on to the back of the thighs. Well, the first way is belly button in, feet no matter what, firmly planted. Don't let this stuff happen, lifting the balls. Don't do that. Try to keep the feet down. So you're going to lower 1 elbow at a time. I'm going to do a subtle shift over here. Okay. You can also do it holding on to the backs of the thighs, belly button in, C-curve the spine to take you onto your back. Or legs out, plantar flex the feet, pointing down, arms out, belly button in. If you have strong back, strong abs, then you can take this reverse abdominal crunch, C-curve. Here is where transient, those of you with hypertension, medicated or not, vertigo, GERD, let's get that head slightly elevated, all right? And we're going to bring the knees to the chest. I notice what I do. I don't wrap around because there's a lot of hyperflexion in yoga. So just when we can, let's just gently support the ligamentous attachments and the meniscus. Give it a little space back there. And just gently rock side to side, Pavanamuktasana, wind removing pose. And now set 1 foot at a time down onto the mat. So I invite you to grab a block and notice the block is not parallel to the wall in front of me, but perpendicular. And I'm going to bring the balls of the feet closer toward the buttocks to lift the butt up. And that block, I'm on level 1 for the moment, goes underneath the sacrum, and you absolutely set your sacrum down on the block. You're in a supported bridge pose, Salamba Setu Bandhasana, but do be mindful that you can go higher if you wish, but that will mean a deeper back bend, yes? So I'm going to try it, all right? So I'm going to bring the feet closer in, up I go, and I'm going to stack 2 blocks, level 2. They're both, they're both on level 1. Pardon me. They're both level 1. Oh boy. So if the edges or the corners of the block are poking into you, just readjust the block to find some comfort there. You don't want that to happen. Now, when you come up higher, because there is a deeper back bend, what else is there? Hip flexor stretch, quadriceps stretch. This is really nice. Lovely posture that allows the abdominal organs and intestines to just kind of chill out, you know? It's a subtle inversion posture. But when you are in this posture, those of you who have the towel under your head, I want you to bring the towel down lower, just because you could throw off the cervical spine of the neck and go out of alignment here. So now, working on the outside thigh, I straighten the knee. So I'm extending the knee and straightening that entire thigh and leg. And wow, don't I get the stretch in the hip flexor quadricep for sure. Wow. And breathe. So this just changed the name of the posture. So it's a reclining supported half staff. Reclining is Supta, supported Salamba, half is Artha, staff pose Dandasana. And then I slide it in on the inhale, exhale, opposite leg and thigh out in front.
Don't let it come all the way over to the side. Don't let it go out in abduction. That's a little cheat. We don't want that to happen. Keep it straight out in front if possible. And certainly you never want to be in pain in any exercise, and certainly not in yoga. Now we can take this to the next step. Straighten. So now we're in that supported reclining staff pose. Salamba Supta Dandasana, or Supta Salamba Dandasana, whichever way you want to call it. You can also play with this with the arms up and overhead. And breathe. Now, I'm going to bend the knees, place the feet down, returning to that supported bridge. However, I'm going to transition, give a little bit of an opposing movement by lifting the knees toward the chest. Inhale, straighten one leg up. Exhale, the other. So you can call this a supported shoulder stand. You can call this a supported legs up the wall pose. Whatever. It's a nice posture to do, particularly when it is up the wall, because then it's really restorative. So at that point, it would be excellent to help you for sleep. Very good for varicose veins, considered to be at least, and considered to be helpful for if you have depression. So you bring the legs up the wall. Good for varicose veins. This is all purported. I can't say that's fully supported by data, but this is what's been reported for thousands of years with yoga. All I know is it feels great, and what I can tell you, it's stretching out the hamstrings and the calf muscles, which is really nice. And bend one knee at a time into the chest. Inhale, exhale, set the feet back down. Hold for the moment. And one more time, I'm coming out into that reclining supported staff. Supta Salamba Dandasana. Now, I'm going to bend the knees, place the feet down. Now I'm going to come into goddess pose. So the higher up you are in goddess, the more back bend, right? But also the deeper stretch to the hip flexor area, to the adductor muscles of the inner thighs. And breathe. And then I'm going to support the legs, draw them in, hold steady a moment. From here, walk the feet closer. Notice them up on the balls of the feet, heels are lifted. Don't like pop off all of the blocks at one time, right? Maybe you've got 3, I don't know. So I'm going to take out one block and keep the heels up as I control that sacrum back down to the bottom block. I'm going to set this one off to the side. Just let that low back settle a moment. There's no big hurry around here today. This is not the have it your way workouts today, right? This is a lot of stuff at one time, so take your time. Okay, now feet in again, hips up, block to the side. I'm going to slowly lower down. I'm not all the way down yet, so I want you to take your time. Draw that belly button in, because the last thing that comes down is the lower back. I don't want the butt. I should say the lower back drops down before the butt. I don't want the butt to land before that lower back. So get the lower back down. I'm still not on the floor with the butt, okay? There's a lot of reverse abdominal crunch here. And keep pulling the belly button in. Lots of engagement of the transverse abdominis. Oof. So I'm going to come forward a little bit here. And now I'm going to bring those knees up into the chest. Oh, feels great. Rocking side to side. And I'm going to bring the feet up into happy baby. So I'm dorsiflexing the feet, soles of the feet stamped onto the ceiling. Grab the outside edges of the arches, then the elbows inside the inner thighs, and gently rock. Now I'm going to get my blocks off to the side here for the moment because I want you to come into the reclining version of the wide angle pose, Supta Konasana. Press the lower back down, push out through the heels, shoulders back and down. And then I bring the knees toward the chest. Holy smokes, I'm going to roll over to one side. Slowly come up. I felt that. Now I'm supposed to tell you to come up on your right, but that's from a sort of ancient yoga anatomical perspective. What I'm really going to tell you is to roll over onto whichever side feels more comfortable for you. All right. So now let's grab those blocks. Come to the hands and knees. We're going to do some spine extension and flexion called cat-cow. So we're dropping down here, inhaling. Careful here with T.I.A. or stroke, right? Watch that extension, that lift of the chin. Exhale, again coming into a flat back. For those of you with postural deviations and back spine, rest of us continue through. So here is cow, spine extension. Here is cat, spine flexion. Now you can choose to stay here on your blocks and come into plank. Make sure you can fully see me, yes. But we can also help out. Those of you with carpal tunnel can take your plank down on the forearms or the soft fist. So it's energy back through the heels, energy forward and out the heart, energy out the crown of the head. Push the ground away. Don't let the elbow bend. We're plugging the arm into the shoulder socket. From here, I'm going to flatten my palms. Careful with carpal tunnel, right? Inhale, exhale, downward facing dog, Adho Mukha Svanasana. Stretch the fingers wide apart. Let the thumbs reach each other. Fan out the other fingers. Lastly, lower the crown of the head down. Push down in your inner heels. Turn your outer heels slightly out. Contracting isometrically those quadriceps. Stretch toes wide apart. Inhale, I lift the outer leg up. Exhale, I'm going to step it forward. Grab my blocks. Level 2, only because of my microphone. I don't want to crush it. So I'm in a low lunge. Yes. So the leg that's on the inside, closer to the white backdrop, that's getting a nice stretch in the quadricep and the hip flexor. Now I'm going to shimmy it back a little bit and gently lower the knee down for a low runner stretch. I'm going to lift my blocks up to level 3 because remember what I said about the association between back bend and quad stretch, and here it is. You can cross the forearms if you want. You can push away
from the thigh. Now lowering down, we're going to take this to the next level. You don't have to, all right? And if you want to try it, you could also use a strap. I bring the heel toward the butt. Hand comes around, grabs the ankle. Other hand comes around, interlock, dorsiflex, pull. There's scapular retraction going on, opening the chest, front deltoid, stretching the hip flexor quad. Now, I swivel the elbow, placing the dorsal side of the foot into the elbow crease, the eye of the elbow. Pull. And lower down. Return to your lunge. Low lunge. Plank pose. Adho Mukha Svanasana. Inhale, inside leg. Exhale, take it forward. No crushing of my microphone. Shimmy back from the low lunge into low runner stretch. Relax the shoulders. I'm taking the blocks to level 3. You notice the higher I lift the block, the further back it goes, right? I just want to make sure it's fully on camera there. There you go. It's so delicious. I have to say it. Or here. Come back down. Heel toward the butt. This is where you can use your strap. Take a hold of the ankle, dorsiflex, interlock fingers, roll shoulders back, push and pull. Open up. And now notice what happens. I bring the hand to the inner arch. Swivel and rotate. Back to low lunge. Let's take the plank. I'll return to carpal tunnel version, one of them at least. Try not to sag the head. A lot of people do that. No sagging of the hips. Palm that ground and jackknife the legs. Nod head, yes. Shake head, no. Lowering down. This time I'm going to face you a little bit more here. Balasana, child's pose, reaching back, reaching forward. Rolling on up. I'll take my yoga block. Returning to Virasana. So pull the butt flesh back and out when you're sitting on the block. And I do a little shimmy side to side, feeling for the sits bones, the ischial tuberosity. And let me turn a little bit more this way so you can see what I do here with the feet. I'm going to stretch the toes wide apart. Soft fists, and just kind of self-massage, especially around the arches. And glide along the foot, go toward the toes. Just show them some love. And that's what we have for you today, folks, here on Boomer and Beyond Wellness. And if you find that my content has value for you, it certainly has value for me because you have value for me. But if you do find some value in the content, then please consider subscribing. And it really does help the channel. Perhaps give a kind comment. Feel free to share with anyone and everyone. And don't forget, hit the notification bell so you can remain current with the content, and also to let you know about a new service that I'm providing by way of the contact form on my website, which is boomerandbeyondwellness.com. As you know, I am also a senior fitness trainer and yoga instructor, and also for on-site massage. But I'm also now doing 10-minute sessions for the Have It Your Way workouts, where we do a deep dive privately, virtually, for one person, one exercise for 10 minutes. So if you'd like to reach out to me directly, you can do so from the website. In the meantime, until next time, please stay hydrated. You know I live a whole food, plant-based lifestyle, so eat your greens, eat your beans, and be well. Thank you for your support. Namaste.